Hello everyone. Just a real quick response to Don. Doesn't seem I can get away from buses and people no matter what I do, does it? Unless I film videos at home. But is a response to Don about why the United States isn't, or his answer to the question of why the United States is not leading the global atheist movement. My answers come in two parts. One is because the character of the country, at its founding you have the southern Christians, which were mostly from like the English church and things like that, where basically the English church was created in the way it was to reaffirm or affirm the divine right of kings, the entire idea that an aristocracy is a good and proper thing to have. And it shows that basically our modern Republican Party is a perfect extension of that idea. And the northern Christianity, what we normally think of as the Protestant work ethic, the self-denial, the stoicism, that is not a very powerful political force right now, although the puritanical social urges survive quite nicely in the modern Republican Party and in parts of the Democratic Party. Now, the Catholic Church, and really the origin of our current view of the separation of church and state stems from the Philadelphia Bible riots in the 1830s, where Protestants didn't want Catholics bringing their Bibles to school. The pollution of foreign ideas and all that, or papist ideas. But I don't really understand the other churches. I don't really understand any of them. And I'm not talking about agreement or disagreement. I don't have the experience of having been raised in one. So there's a lot I'm missing. And this leads to my second point, which is that generally when a theist is talking to a theist, there is a point of agreement that there is something larger out there than we are that at least has some opinion about us, with the exception of deists and a few others. Even major parts of Buddhism have tremendous numbers of gods and demons and this and that and the other thing that permeate the belief. And when trying to speak to a theist who is fairly strong in their convictions, in order to get across a lot of ideas, you have to get the admission that non-belief is also a viable position to hold. And not in a schadenfreude kind of way, but in an unfortunate kind of way. It is darkly amusing to watch the faces of some people who are as they struggle with attempting to make that leap. And my work knows about my blog and my YouTube channel and things like that, and my Facebook. So really what I quote-unquote am, or what I would say I am not, is not a secret. My girlfriend knows this. She is not an atheist, but she is... Our values are philosophically compatible, and we are willing to leave it at that. And I don't understand a lot of atheists who think that they should wear it on their sleeves when, having done that in the past, when the United States was a lot less zealous than it is now, it got a bad reaction universally. And now I don't bring it up unless the specific question of religion is already on the table and I am in a corner where I can either lie or I can say, nope, sorry, I'm not on either team there. That's a third thing, actually, is that especially in a situation where religion is such a big part of life and people are having such long discussions about whether this or that point is valid, someone who comes along and says, I'm not even on the field on that one, is looked at as very strange, and it's a very jarring experience to people to see that. And I don't mind messing with people's heads at all, but when people are shooting people over it, or people are beating them up over it, or people are firing people over it, I don't think I'll get fired from my job, because Washington has a lot of weird people crammed into a very small space. Not like New York, but it's a place like no other. I still walk very carefully. Separation of church and state was never, ever, ever about protecting non-believers or protecting the secular. It was about protecting Christians from themselves. Thank you for your time and attention. Just a brief postscript while I'm thinking of it. When I said that the purpose or the origin of separation of church and state was not about protecting secularism or whatever, it was about protecting Christians from themselves, I should have said that the separation of church and state as we know it today, including keeping it out of public schools and things like that, is rooted in the conflict between Protestants and Christians over the Bible. Or the Bibles, depending upon your point of view. I'll put a link in the bottom about the Philadelphia Bible riots, and thank you for your time and attention.